Good evening, everybody.
Hello.
We made it. I'm eating as usual. So everybody can be happy without that. I don't know if that's still a thing or not.
We always do love the mukbang every other Monday night. So
Well, you know what? I just got food. We're
Mike, we're
having
over
kind of
here.
a lazy day.
Oh, you
Hi,
guys.
Leo. Hi, Dizzy. Hi, Sandwich.
Hey, Dizzy, hang on.
Hey, Zombie.
So, do you see the Geeks logo up top? Upper
I do.
right?
Oh, you
Okay.
Yeah, I do see that.
Okay, so you don't see me looking over to GC. Maybe that's what. Maybe that's not there, and I just look like a moron, which is not an uncommon thing.
I was about to say, is this a new experience for you? I don't think
We
so.
say that for Kelly going What's
Very
up,
nice.
Retro Rican and Dizzy?
Yes, Weekend's
what's
in
up,
here.
everybody?
All right. We got all sorts of people in here.
Zombie started out. Sandwich is here.
Yeah, Zombie
We
was number
have
one.
like no plan tonight. We
Shenanigan.
We decidedly came in with no plan. The plan was no plan.
The plan is to be laying back and being lazy after the holidays. And yeah, you guys are all welcome to be lazy with us. So I guess whatever topic we didn't get around to talking, we can just kind of meh through it. What's up, Mazen?
Whatever.
I finally have. Mazen has finally blessed me with a name.
Has he now?
Mike the Lumberjack.
I'm a little confused by this one, but okay.
Oh, because yesterday. Well,
is he getting all jacked? Is that what it is?
No. Yesterday, out in 60-degree weather out here in Maryland, I was out there. There are these 3 trees on the side of our house that on the corner that have been bugging me for 15 years. And yesterday, they came down.
Right on.
What'd your neighbors think of that one?
They didn't care. They're not their trees. They're my trees.
Okay.
I don't even think anybody really realizes it. But then as we took the largest of the trees down, it had done all kinds of damage to our gutters and stuff. So it had to go. It had timber. It had
timber.
To go. So I will take it. I will take it.
You know what? I have to do this because we never have a genius in here.
Yeah.
Quack, quack, quack,
I was waiting
for
it. I don't know what they're doing because I don't think I've ever met two Ingeniuses, but whatever.
Ingeniuses is really, really good people, and the quack, 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 quack is quack, 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 quack. Usually puts like 4 ducks up on his stream when people come in. So that's kind of like one of his traditional greetings.
Well, hang on a second. Let me go find his channel.
See? Quack, 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 quack.
That's
right. There we go.
Okay. See?
Genius is really good people. He hasn't been able to stream as much as he's wanted to lately. He had a new job, which I think he's still heavily involved in. That's had him working a lot more lately. I haven't caught any of his streams in a long time.
Oh.
They pop in on the weekend sometimes randomly, and I think I completely missed them, which sucks because I love Ingenious' streams. He's a really cool dude. His streams are always pretty awesome. So if you do happen to catch one of his streams, it's worth watching.
So just I'm subbed. You know what? I'm already subbed, but
there you go.
I now hit the notification bell.
Sandwich is here. Oh, Rebel Railroad Productions. I haven't seen you in a while, man. How you doing?
Welcome.
Welcome.
I had a pretty good Christmas. I got a couple of cool things.
Oh, we saw
but before we get into that, how all did your holidays go, Mike? I know you didn't really do anything specifically for Christmas, but did you do anything fun on the day of or anything like that?
It was my wife's birthday.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
She got a steak dinner like she always gets.
Oh, well, that's not a terrible thing.
What
did you do? Cook the steak yourself? Because like nothing's open on Christmas.
Yes, well, Chinese food's always open, but no,
I wouldn't do Chinese.
I was going to ask if you had
steak. I wouldn't go there for a steak.
We did Chinese, so we did Chinese food Friday night.
Okay.
But no, I had bought steaks during the week. I bought some really nice strips, and
nice.
I mean, again, it was like 55 degrees outside, so The grill was lit.
You could still grill, yeah. You can grill 55. I see
grill,
people grill like 20-degree weather.
Exactly.
They don't
grill I can grill in a snowstorm.
Yeah, I've seen people do the same thing. Like they're in there in like boots and like a jacket, and sometimes they're in like boxers and a white beater. And I'm going, "What are you doing?" They're like grilling steaks. I'm like,
grilling steaks and catching pneumonia.
It's like 20 degrees. What's going on?
Hey man, after COVID, pneumonia is just a,
Yeah,
walk in the park.
I got a story about that in a minute.
So do I.
We'll carry on. Omega Ace Gaming's in here.
Mega Kamikaze! Tommy's in the house.
Tommy's in the house.
Yo, John was supposed to invite you last Thursday to play Halo, and he forgot. That's on him.
Oh, is that what happened? I wonder why Tommy wasn't there.
I need to get that man's Twitter so I can get a hold of him, or
just
I was gonna
say we had everybody else under the sun. Why do we not have Tommy?
Tell John to give you my cell phone number so I can start getting in touch with you when we want to play.
Yeah, I got to be better about touching base with him on Facebook. I'm tied up to him on Facebook. I just don't hit him up enough. That's on me.
I'm not on Facebook enough. I'm not on Facebook at all.
Well, most people would say they're on Facebook too much, even if they only look at Facebook once a month. Yeah. So there's that.
I deleted my Facebook in February.
Yeah, I could see that. Rob, how'd your Christmas go?
Okay. We also had Chinese food for dinner because no one wanted to cook. So we did our Christmas on Christmas Eve because we're a blended house. So all the kids went back to their other house this year for Christmas. So we did our Christmas at our house on Christmas Eve. We kind of alternate that every year. It's not confusing at all. So we did our full Christmas day, waking up early, opening all the gifts on Christmas Eve. And that was like the full thing. So it didn't even feel like it wasn't Christmas Day, all Christmas Eve. And then when I woke up the next morning, I was like, oh, it's Christmas now. And it was like nothing. So we went out for Japanese food Christmas Eve night. Ooh. And then we had
like hibachi, teppanyaki.
Oh, I'm sorry, ramen, but also
ramen
it's a Japanese
place. I'm always down for
ramen, but also sushi and various other Japanese things.
I am a teppanyaki guy myself. Throw that stuff on that grill, flip it around. Oh yeah.
My wife and I did that one for our anniversary. There's a teppanyaki place up.
I love that
neighborhood.
Love that stuff. Kids love it too.
Yeah, it's a very good show. So it's a lot of fun. But for Christmas Day, it was Chinese food for lunch, and we watched another old fogey movie, which I'd never seen before, The Bishop's Wife, which is really good. So that was my Christmas. It was really, 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 really chill. Right. Yeah, and my wife is also Mexican, and we've never made tamales.
That actually sounds amazing.
I keep asking for it every year, and I get the same excuses that it takes forever. It's not worth doing unless you're making a bunch, in which case you're making them all day anyway, and you got to have enough people to eat them all. And we don't have any of those check marks other than the fact that I just would like to have them. So I get voted down.
I mean, Nick and I will be there next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll come over.
I'll twist her arm again.
You're gonna make tamales. I'll be like, "Hi, I heard tamale."
And I came a running.
Aren't you in Colorado? I don't see how that has anything to do with anything.
Right.
What's your point?
I'm here now.
Right. Wait, did you fly in from Maryland? I heard the word tamales.
Fly literally
we got
across
Vash
the country
in here. That's fantastic.
Oh, Vash.
It's good to see you, Vash. So mine was pretty chill. My whole weekend was crazy and led into, well, a bit of a mess I just found out about. So Christmas Eve, I did my usual hang out with my buddy kind of thing. So he came over and we grabbed dinner and we did that. So I didn't have any time to work on anything then. Saturday he came over again and we opened up presents and we hung out till about 11 o'clock. We got him a couple things. I don't have it here. I may actually go get it later. He got me a replica God of War axe, the Leviathan axe. Christmas.
Saw that. That was nice.
So that thing's pretty great. I got a bunch of cool stuff from Nicole too. I got some Lumicube stuff. I got a couple figures, one of which I've got sitting right here. Got like a 12-inch looking Snake Eyes thing, and this thing has all the seams inside the suit. So you never really see like the seams themselves, if I can get it focused. So it's got a lot of nice detail. I'm curious to do more with this to kind of see exactly how well it poses. It's really big, so I won't be buying a lot of these just because of the size. Size and space are kind of
with the Kung Fu grip.
It is a G.I. Joe with a Kung Fu grip and multiple hands. So, but that was really cool. I got a sound wave and a couple other things like that. So we did that then. And then the next day we had other friends come over who couldn't be there that day. They had to go over to in-laws for Christmas Day. So they came over to exchange on Sunday. And they were there from like 1:30 to like almost 10. So my whole weekend was wrapped up in holiday stuff.
Not the worst thing.
And then come to find out today, one of them calls me. He goes, "I have to be the bearer of bad news." And I'm like, What happened? Everything went fine. Everybody had a good time. We hadn't seen you in 3 years. Everything seemed to go fine. What happened? Well, turns out I have COVID.
Oh.
Okay. So apparently he was feeling kind of under the weather, and they came over anyway because he thought it was just a cold. Most people would think most of the symptoms of COVID are just a cold, because that's what they seem like 90% of the time. So we're going to be self-isolating through the new year, because apparently if you suspect you may have caught it, you have to wait about 5 days, and then you
now
get
it's 5
tested.
days.
Yeah.
Well, no, now that's if you show symptoms.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, I show symptoms all winter. I have a runny nose most of the time. I'm slightly congested. Most of the time
symptoms are like
the symptoms are basically the
headache,
common cold or anything.
I've probably had COVID 7 times already.
Yeah.
I'm tired all the time. That's not a symptom to me. That's just life.
You're feeling irritable.
Finish your story and I'll tell you.
Life.
Finish your story and I'll tell you mine, because this is
eating
similar.
paste. Good to see you, man. So that was my main story of everything that kind of went on leading up to today. So I'm frantically trying to play catch up on videos that I thought I was going to be able to work on earlier, so I can do something this week as far as an upload goes. When I thought I was actually going to start getting ahead because I had all this vacation time, which has now just gotten eaten up by everything else. Ding.
My youngest was diagnosed with COVID on Thursday.
Oh, God.
Oh, wait. No. So the only reason we tested him is because he's like a little congested, right?
All right.
And we're like, come on. Now, he got sent home on Tuesday for being in contact trace with somebody at school. So we're like, all right, we'll get him tested. So on Thursday, we get him tested. He's positive. So immediately my wife and I are like, well, shoot, because that means 14 days and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, he doesn't. And at no time during any of this did my 7-year-old act like he was sick. Like, he's running around the house. He's out. He's playing outside. All the good things you should do when you're, quarantined.
When you're young and made out of rubber bands and magic glue.
Well, right. But here's the thing. He didn't infect a single one of us in the house, right? Not my oldest, not Seth, not me, not my wife. And we're going to go to the Ocean City, which is our side of it's our beach resort area in Maryland. And I said, this is ridiculous. We got a whole bunch of test kits. And I said today, if we test negative today, we're going to the beach. I don't care. So we test the whole house, shove that crap up our nose and dip it in the thing. I'm negative. Jacob's negative. Seth is negative. My wife is negative. Spencer, negative. His COVID lasted he had the 24-hour COVID. It freaking went away over the weekend. And
he's fine. He probably just kicked it out of there. It's like, what are you buy?
Perfectly fine. So we're going to the beach for New Year's because screw this. And today the CDC said, now you only have to quarantine for 5 days. Well, that would have been today. So we're good.
Well, see, the thing is like I called my buddy who we were going to go to New Year's Eve with, and I'm like, dude, I just got told that I may have been exposed, and he's like, I'm like, so obviously we're probably not going to do anything on Friday because we were going to do New Year's together. We were going to go to a restaurant, get some good food, come back, open a bottle, celebrate New Year's. He's like, so I'm guessing we're not doing that. I'm like, well, yeah, probably not. because I don't want you accidentally getting it and the off chance that I have it. And since I'm not supposed to test for 5 days, which I think is ridiculous, by the way, that you can't, that it takes that long for you to be able to even remotely test for anything on it. That kind of just blows those plans out of the water, unfortunately. Sort of sucks. Well, I just don't want to risk getting somebody else sick. That's really what it is. I'm not too worried about it, but
I would test yourself in a couple days, right? Just see.
Yeah.
The other thing about this new variant too is that's why we're all kind of joking about it being like the common cold, because it literally is. We're at a point now where we're in the endemic phase. This thing,
dude, it's going to be here from now until the end of wherever.
It's another form of the cold.
And I'm surprised YouTube hasn't kicked us off because we keep talking about it.
Yeah, we've been talking about COVID. I was like waiting for them to get a stop for the come in.
I was waiting for Google to come in and go,
All right, Loki, let's
this transmission is over. No, I've been waiting for 2 years to get it because I could use a vacation, but I honestly, real talk, I've been working in the service industry for the past 20 years. What's up, BFG?
So we got BFG, we got Celestial Light, and who else jumped in?
Everyone is here.
Heavyweights. Yeah, we got an awesome crowd tonight.
Yeah, we do.
Anyway, so I've been working in the service industry for the past 20 years. So I'm going in and out of multiple houses every day, usually in the dirtiest part of their house because I'm a plumber. So that's just what I do. My immune system could probably bench press my entire house. So I would like to. I just want to get it over with. I would like to get sick, but I just don't. So
that's just.
I literally haven't gotten sick at all since December of 2019, and part of that is obviously because everyone started kind of separating out a little bit, which is good, and I've been washing my hands a lot more. So.
I love this crowd so much.
Yeah, geeks, can I come over?
Sure.
Works a little bit.
I don't know if we've actually got anything, to be honest with you. And honestly, this is going to be kind of like it's really not going to be that big of a deal. I don't think. And eventually it's just going to be the kind of thing that just kind of comes around that people get, and it's just going to be kind of a normal thing that people have. You're going to get a booster probably each year. And that's just going to be the norm of it if you manage to go to bother to do the booster, because a lot of people, including myself, generally don't even do a flu shot. I did this because we were flying into Philadelphia and I didn't want to get a bunch of people sick on my trip into Philadelphia. So we did that as sort of preparation. So that's one of the reasons that we got it initially in the first place. But anyway, that's my somewhat lame story about that and me canceling some plans just to kind of be safe and cognizant for people that I hang out with and not really wanting to get them sick.
It's the right thing to do. I'm not,
regardless of where it is, you don't want to deliberately get it. You don't want to give it when you're cold.
Right. I mean, it's like if I had the flu, I wouldn't want to be around other people while I have the flu. One, I'd probably feel crummy and it wouldn't be much fun, which this may not affect me in the same way, but I don't want to transmit it to anybody either.
No,
right? It's just rude.
Yeah,
right?
That's exactly it. It's like if they tell you if you're sick, don't go out.
That's why too much weed and cigarettes to catch it.
No. I will say I picked a great time, a great time to get myself healthy. I mean, I will say that,
I did get into something new that I'm probably going to do a video on this week. I started getting back into VR. I got a new headset. I didn't get this for Christmas. I got this a little bit before Christmas, and I'd been debating on it for a while. And yes, this is a deliberate, painful transition away from the topic we're talking about because we should talk about something fun.
No, let's talk some VR. Seth's got a Quest as well. Quest 2.
Yeah, because I'm gonna do a video on and I'm gonna try to get this out on Wednesday, if not Wednesday, then Friday. And I'm also gonna try to do something on the Evercade if I can work that up by the weekend. I want to do that too because I got my Evercade Versus in too that I'd ordered back in.
Is that the console version of that?
Yes, yes, it is. So I got the Founders version, which came with like some extra stuff and stuff like that. But this one I'm gonna do a video on talking about the different types of headsets, you know, the importance of kind of cleaning out your play space, staying hydrated where you're on it, and different things about that, you know, just different safety measures and dumb stuff that people don't pay attention to when they first start using a VR headset, because it's a thing.
I kind of like how we all had to learn how to be aware of our surroundings when we all got the Wii. I smacked my kid in the head so many times with the Wii remotes because he's always getting time while I was bowling.
And this is worse because you got the headset on and you can't necessarily see anybody around you. Like my wife came up to me when I was playing Half-Life Alyx and I'm trying to fend off head crabs, and she touched me on the shoulder and I'm like, oh my God.
It's a good thing that's all you did. Good thing that's all you did.
I'm like, come on. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot more dangerous in that respect. So, and I'll probably go into these two when I get them, but I ordered some things to make the strap on the back a little bit more comfortable. Ordered a more advanced head strap, or ordered some grips for it to make it a little bit more tactile and a little bit easier to hold on to, like silicone grips for the controllers, kind of like what you would do for the Wiimotes back in the day. I'm trying to think of the other thing I ordered. Yeah, a silicone faceplate for the actual unit itself, so I'm not using the foam one that comes with it, so it's a little easier to clean and gets less funk. So I got those three things coming to kind of modify the experience a little bit as far as the comfort level goes, that I hope will make it kind of nice. And yes, Heavyweights, the new headset is wireless. It's an Oculus Quest 2. So I'm going to start getting back into that a little bit. And so the first one's kind of like just an intro to like, hey, each one of these kind of has their own ecosystems. Yeah, you can kind of cross-pollinate. Here's some of the things you should probably consider when you start messing with VR. You really should kind of ease yourself into games, etc., and this kind of thing. Yeah, it turned out to be about 16 minutes. I was kind of surprised that I talked about it as long as I did. Hey, James Geppy, how you doing, man? Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a long time, man. I haven't been on these streams in a while. I'm sorry. So it should be interesting it was really intended for somebody who's kind of brand new to VR headsets, not somebody who's really experienced. I'm either debating it like intro to VR headsets or VR for dummies, right? Because I don't consider myself an expert. I've had a Rift S for a while and phased in and out of using it because it was kind of awkward to use, mostly because it was wired, and I don't have a good computer outside of my main desktop to use it with. And that puts me in a very small play space, which is awful for VR. And that's not a problem with VR. That's a problem with my play space, right? Because I just didn't have enough space to allocate for it. This one fixes that because I can go anywhere in my house. So I can go to a place that has a lot more room, right? Which makes it a lot more accessible. And there's ways around having to just download things onto the headset. You could actually link to a desktop remotely through Wi-Fi and stuff like that and use it that way. So if there's enough interest, I'll start doing some videos on some stuff like that. If that's something people are interested in, it could be something new for the channel. Who knows? I don't know. But anyway, it's a cool
real quick. Ingenious is, if I were into VR, I would answer your question absolutely with Metroid Prime.
Love that have VR that aren't on VR yet from any generation. Metroid Prime. I would love to see Metroid Prime in VR. That would be amazing.
Yeah, actually, I think if they redid the controls a little better, so they didn't suck as far as like the actual controlling Samus part of it, a Metroid 3 would be perfect for that because there's a lot of her hands reaching out and manipulating things in the ship also. So I mean, that'd be like a perfect game to just almost practically a 1-to-1 conversion. I hated how clunky those controls were when you're controlling her. It took me right out of it.
Yeah, I could kind of say that. And I am doing more game mechanics one. Actually, I was working on one that I think I'm going to push back a little. And the reason I'm going to push it back is because when I started talking about it, it involved a lot of other mechanics that I feel like I should probably cover. Because the way I kind of want to do that series is I kind of want to build it up, right? So you talk about base mechanics, and then you talk about this base mechanic and this base mechanic. Then you start going into like different theories and stuff that start integrating most of those, right? So you kind of already covered all those, kind of like how you would like learn things in school, right? You learn about this, then you'd learn about this, which kind of builds off of that, and it just sort of builds and snowballs into its own thing. I think that would be a cool way to do the series rather than have it bounce around. So I'm kind of trying to think of how to organize that the best way. And the one I started writing up turned out to be way more complicated than I thought it was going to be. And I think it'll be a good episode when it comes out. I just think it's one I need to save and then approach it when I've gotten a few more of them done. Because how it needs to go.
I just have another one. I think the Punch Out remake on the Wii would be good.
You know, they actually have one called, I think it's called Knockout Kings.
Yeah, but I want to play Punch Out.
Yeah, Knockout Kings feels a lot
Knockout
like
one, which
Punch
is basically a knockoff of Punch Out.
It is, but it's really fun and it's exhausting, by the way.
Where you fight like the octopus and like there's a ninja or something also you fight.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them in there. There's a bunch of crazy stuff in there.
Brian F is close. Brian F said Mike wants a Sonic CD VR adventure. He's close.
Oh my god, dude! Oh, Sonic in VR.
Sonic. No. But if I were to want one in VR, Sonic Adventure.
See, I think any of the Sonic games would move, and I say because one of the things you'll notice when you start messing with games, like I challenge you, Mike, to go buy Boneworks and play it for like 15 minutes, moving around. And see if you don't get dizzy and nauseous.
So there was a game for my PSVR Farpoint where if you don't do it, like I did it, not realizing I had to sit down to do it. But yeah, that one did. See, here's the thing though. People are saying Sonic CD, Zombie said Knuckles Chaotix. The 2D games wouldn't do it for me. It has to be Sonic Adventure where I could look around the world. Yeah, you're right. It'd be fast, but you know what else is that fast? Wipeout Omega Collection, and that VR is lightning fast. I don't have any issues with that.
See, that's interesting because I know a lot of people, like, even if you're sitting down, if whatever you're in is moving, it starts freaking them out.
Yeah, you can't do it for like an hour, but you know, like
hey Brian F, hey Alpha, how you guys doing?
Alpha, Outrun in VR, yes.
Outrun, any racing game in VR, I think could be amazing
because Gran Turismo, my helmet came with Gran Turismo VR, which was decent, but how was the name of the Drive Club VR? Was excellent. So yeah, there's definitely racing games, but
Flight Simulator.
Oh, most definitely. Ace Combat in VR is sublime. Ace Combat.
Stampede's 7. Here too. I didn't even see Stampede sleeping. Really, I don't even think I said hi. I'm a terrible person. I'm sorry.
From the chat.
I'm sorry.
Past 10 minutes.
I'm sorry. I'm terrible.
What the fuck?
I'm terrible. But yeah, honestly, what I'd like to see them do with stuff like, especially like a racing game, it would be nice if you could have like an actual gearbox, like if you wanted to do manual and stuff like that.
And you take like the
you could hook it up to where you could actually do that, and it would actually shift the gears. That way, you could kind of look down and like actually kind of see it. And
so I'm surprised
be able to shift the gears. I think that would be cool.
You could. I think you could probably do that somewhat with.
Now he's just spamming it
with a move connector.
That was just giving me a hard time.
So I remember when at the very beginning when that was what Kinect was supposed to let you do, right? With your hand with the gearbox and your foot pressing down on something.
Yeah, I think some of those. I think adding some tactile stuff to the VR experience rather than just the handles on it, or if I don't know, with a having two VR controllers, it could be kind of awkward to do.
I'm gonna grab.
It could also be kind of interesting.
Hang on, I'll show you something. So.
Oh my god, freaking Crazy Taxi in VR! Oh my god, the bouncing on that. Oh, woof.
I'd be down for Crazy Taxi. So here's the move.
Playboy Mansion in VR.
There you go.
There's multiple anime and girlfriend games and all sorts of stuff. Just go looking. There's stuff like that out there.
Where's easy to find?
It's there.
So here are the move controllers, right? And one of the games that these work really well with is Iron Man. So
I can see that.
With with Iron Man, for example, you can, with the straps on here, you could do this either standing or sitting. You can use this to, do your shot, right?
The thing.
Or the thing, or you hold your. Let me stand up for a quick second. You would hold your hold these down like this to fly, right? And you do this, and it'll track it behind you. And this is how you fly forward, fly back, fly up. So this actually does give you some methods of that control space. And so, for example, what you're talking about is if you could have a controller like the nunchuck, like the Wiimote nunchuck, that on your left hand is steering, on your right hand is, because it's got buttons, and a trigger could be gas, brake, and here's shift forward, shift back, do that could work on at least PSVR and probably Vive, and Quest 2, because Quest comes with the hand controllers.
Yeah, the Index does it. The Index will do the same thing. They've all got a lot of that built in now.
They all have it now.
The Index is actually probably the best VR controller that's on the market because it'll recognize individual digits,
right?
Which is kind
of amazing.
How does
they do that without a camera?
It's the way the controller, way your hand is strapped in. It's kind of got like sensors on the actual handle,
gotcha.
So it can recognize like each individual finger.
Right, because this uses a combination. Like to do the VR, which is why I have not hooked the PSVR up to the PS5.
F-Zero could be fun.
Yeah, that could be fun because you need the PlayStation camera for this, and that's what tracks, what's inside the Move controllers and can track your hands and your face.
Yeah.
And it tracks points on the visor. So the visor has specific like light points on it that the camera specifically tracks. And that's how you get a lot of your precise motion.
Yeah.
So,
the index actually uses what they call lighthouses. That makes the tracking a little bit more effective. So it uses that in conjunction with what's on the headset.
Ooh, dizzy.
The HTC and the Oculus use cameras embedded in the actual headset itself to track the area around it.
Okay, because the Vive, at least the original Vives, actually had cameras you put up on.
They've started building them into the headset now. So they more or less use them inside the headset. And that's where everybody's trying to go outside of Steam right now, is to try to make them to where you don't need a lot of gear. You just kind of put it on and you go
out. And yeah, that would make sense. So, oh man. So VR Troopers, Dizzy said,
there's a lot of these in here that are like fun ideas.
Dizzy said Extreme G Racing in VR. Yeah. I'd love that. Oh, that was one of
there's a ninja game that's actually in VR. I need to see if I can find it.
It was on the Wii. Or actually, what was it called? It was.
I can't remember the name of it. I played it at a friend of mine's house, and it can actually be pretty disorienting.
It's not.
It's pretty quick.
The
Red Steel was the Wii
ninja game. That's it. Red Steel.
Yeah, but
Red Steel. Yeah, Red Steel could be fun. Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I think that's where things like even Skyrim, I think, needs to start to go that way. And they do a VR experience for that, but I've heard it's not a very good experience. But if you want to start doing sword fighting in like FPS games, I feel like VR is the way to do it.
Vader Unleashed or whatever it is.
Vader Immortal. Blade and Sorcery, I think, is another one that's based on like melee weapons and stuff like that. And then have goofy ones like Gorn, where the weapons are just kind of like, stupid and goofy, and you can kind of move around there. That's another one that kind of uses weapons. But I think anything we're using like melee weapons, because that's one of the things I've never cared for in an FPS experience, is when you start giving me stuff like a sword. Because I feel like I'm just like, this is the animation. This is it. It just loses a lot of finesse and fun. But if I was actually swinging it, that could be a lot more entertaining, I think, like, at least in my opinion. Anyway.
Yeah, as long as it was actually detecting your motions in somewhat real time.
Yes. Duck Hunt, they got some games that are kind of like that, but Duck Hunt in VR, absolutely.
I gotta say, maybe, and they'll never do it because they're not interested in VR, but going through this Halo Infinite
Double
campaign.
Phase VR. Pretty sure there's something like that out there already.
running that Halo Infinite campaign in VR would be sublime.
Yeah, that could be a lot of fun.
That
it's like reaching out and squeezing for like the grappling hook and everything like that.
Yep.
Being able to reach over to swap weapons would be kind of cool.
Actually driving the Warthog, driving it.
Yep. One of the ones that comes probably closest to being able to give you like there's a couple that give you really good gunplay in VR. Half-Life Alyx is really solid at it, so that's more of a Half-Life feel game, and it really does feel like you're in the Half-Life world. If you're in online shooters, Population 1, it's kind of like a PUBG for VR. And that's kind of a crazy looking game. I haven't jumped into that one. I had a buddy of mine that's like, oh, I need to get you in on this one. I need to get you in on this one. I'm like, dude, my space sucks for this. Now with this headset, I could see doing it. Right? With my old one, not so much. Cheetah Man VR. I think RPGs could actually be really good too. Like you could have one wheel that would come up for like spells. One that came up for like different weapons. Two girls would got VR. Oh my god! Somebody may have to come up with a different topic. This has really gone downhill.
Oh no, it hasn't.
Now we're just trying to top one another with the RetroRoots there. I think he won.
Yeah. I think RetroRoots just kind of destroyed everybody. Oh my god. I love this guy.
Manhunt. Oh,
Manhunt could be really good. Batman already has at least one VR experience, but that's another one I think they could expand on. Doom's already had at least one VR experience.
Yeah, it wasn't that good though.
Yeah, I heard mixed things about it. I heard it was good and I heard it wasn't that good. It's kind of hard to...
It was hard to move around. I think they're getting to a point to where we're getting past when this first came out, and there were a couple of games that did this. The Last Guardian did it. And I'm strictly speaking PSVR because that's the VR I've got. Doom did it. To an extent, Resident Evil did it, where in order to move, you had to kind of look at a spot and hit a button.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not happening anymore now. Now you're able to actually free reign, free look. You know, they're figuring it out.
Half-Life still does that. Half-Life Alyx still works that way.
Yeah, but they're starting to figure that out. There are also some really good third-person games that do take advantage of kind of like the three-dimensional aspect of it. There's a game called Moss, which is...
Yeah, there's another one where you play like a giant and somebody else is playing on like a 2D platform and you can actually reach out and help them get to different locations. I forget what it's called. I saw it like ages ago. And I'm like, that looks like a really cool like co-op game. If somebody was playing it with like a regular controller and then you're controlling the giant to kind of help them navigate the stage, that'd be a really fun co-op game.
That would be a fun co-op game.
Splatterhouse VR, they could be crazy.
Yeah, Portal VR, that's a good one.
Yeah, and now another good one that they've got out, and I thought about picking it up. I may just scare the crap out of myself. If I could find a way to stream this effectively, I probably would. Like, I can get the feed to my computer, and I think I can get the audio going. But the problem, the game's audio, but my actual audio, since I'm in a different room, wouldn't really work because it won't carry over the mic from the headset. Like, it's not transmitting that remotely. Or at least I haven't figured out how to do it yet.
Actually, Heavy Waves had a really good idea, and that's one that he's obviously taken it seriously. So, but I like his idea. Civ VR, or actually, he actually got me thinking.
Oh no, that's awesome.
You automatically just go to like a first-person game, but honestly, like I was thinking, just like Magic the Gathering might actually be kind of cool if like you're actually in like a virtual arena, looking down at the board and all your pieces and stuff. I think
absolutely.
Yeah, I'd love something like battle chess.
Yeah,
VR would be awesome.
No, I honestly, as much as everybody's kind of having like fun with it, which is totally fine. There's a lot of really, honestly, I feel like part of the reason I've always kind of wanted to love VR and I've struggled to love it. because it's not quite where I kind of want it to be. It's slowly getting there, but not enough people are investing in it because not a lot of people can afford to dip their toe into it. Because at least until like the Quest line, and particularly the Quest 2, it's been more often than not, you need a $400 headset and then you need like a $2,000 computer to run it, right? So it's really expensive to do a setup to do VR well. The Quest 2, I think, has been one of the really good moves towards making it more accessible for the public, right? Assuming you can get around the fact that you're tied into Facebook, which sucks. And Potion Sword runs here. What's up, man? How you doing?
What's up, Potion?
Potion.
So
Carla's here too.
That I think will actually, in the end, the more that they can make these headsets more mobile, the more they can make it to where they don't need to be tied to a really powerful PC.
Mm-hmm.
The more that they can start moving into this space, and the more innovation you can get there. Not that there's not a lot of innovation. A lot of the real innovations in the way you approach a game, and the way a game feels, and the way a game plays. If it's not happening in the indie space, it's all happening in VR. And VR is almost doing it more so because it's a new type of platform, right? It's a new type of experience, and you can play with it in different ways, and certain things work and certain things don't. So people are finding new ways to approach things, and sometimes they're coming up with stuff that's just hands down better than the old way of doing it, right?
Or Dizzy said the Pokemon Snap, just Pokemon. I think Pokemon might actually work pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Straight up throwing out your Pokeball and then selecting different commands and stuff, or even shouting them would be dope.
I think that's what the new games are actually incorporating too. Like you're actually kind of throwing the ball.
That would be cool. That's cool. I know they've done some of that. Like was it Pokemon Go? I think they actually had a Pokeball controller that you could like make a throwing motion with, and it would like send out your Pokemon.
And I think Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu. I don't know if Zombie would know, I'm sure. But I don't know if the actual core games incorporated that, but I'm pretty sure that Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go
I think they're a one-off.
Had like the actual motion controls where you're throwing the ball.
Hmm? Those did. I don't think any of the others did.
Yeah. But see, I think that would actually work right now. The Pokemon game. It's simple enough. I think it would actually be really good. And then the conversation died. Sorry, we shouldn't have brought up Pokemon.
Sorry, I was swallowing, man. I was eating food.
I'm just trying to think that there really is so much that VR can do now that it couldn't do before. That
Fortnite absolutely
can make for. I think they're already Well, look, next year Among Us VR is coming, so people are starting to explore those spaces, Rob. That games that don't typically sound like they would work in VR, but will. I've enjoyed a lot of what I've like. Star Trek Bridge Command or Bridge Crew.
Yeah, that would be a fun one. I haven't played that.
Oh, it's phenomenal, and it's cross-play, which is great. So I was, I've got some guys on PC that have like the Oculus Rift and the Vive that I play with, and I tell you, it's awesome, absolutely awesome.
Yeah, like I said, there's been a lot of good things coming into that space. So I think it's going to be interesting to feel more comfortable dipping my toes into it. Yeah. Not to derail the whole conversation into this for like a while. Honestly, we didn't spend that long on it. We spent about 20 minutes on that. That's not bad.
No, but shenanigans. We can talk about whatever we want.
Shenanigans.
Yeah. I know some people aren't really into the VR space. Like I said, it's an experiment putting it out on my channel to see if people take to it, to see if people are really interested into it. And I mean, if that becomes a thing, I'll start making that kind of a semi-regular segment on there as I have something to say on it, or something new comes out that looks like it's going to be kind of fun, probably more game-wise rather than me going out and buying every headset. Because probably the next headset I would buy outside of this one would be something like a Valve Index, right? That would probably be the next step up that I would get. And that would be to have more of a 1-to-1 and more of a close matching thing. Because sometimes, like on some songs on Beat Saber, I can pretty much complete Expert Plus on not all the tracks, but there's like a handful of them I can do. And it gets hard for the index. It gets hard for the Quest and the Rift to track that sometimes. One, because I feel like it goes out of field of view for the camera where I'm swinging my hand. And part of it's just the speed of it, that it just doesn't track as well as, like, say, a Lighthouse would. So from that perspective, I think something that's a little bit external, looking at where your hands are at and directly connected to a computer, being more beneficial, right?
Makes sense.
So that would be the only reason I would do that. That and to basically be able to have everything physically connected. So if I want to talk to people, because there's ways to work your chat in, so I could actually stream it on YouTube and see the chat from you guys live and be able to reply to it. I wouldn't want to do that with the way I've gotten the wireless one to work now, because I can't get my mic to work, which means I'd have to have a laptop hooked up with a mic plugged in and set that up when I'm streaming, right, and try not to hit it. Which I might get a new laptop to be able to do stuff like that moving forward and to be able to film in my room, because I want to start doing games with Nicole. And it would be neat to have her on the channel with us playing a 2-player game, but it would be nice to be able to sit down on the couch and do that, right? So I'd like to have something with an external Elgato and like a laptop that I could hook it up to and do that when we're in there, and then have my desktop for like when I'm just playing by myself. Notice I said by, not with. On you, chat.
See, the chat so far has been all up on this VR.
Yeah, and somebody mentioned Castlevania VR. A couple of people mentioned that, and that would be dope too. I could totally see that. That'd be awesome. Virtual racing,
shirtless VR. All right, if you.
The only thing I don't want to do in this one, for the most part, like boxing games are fine, but like fighting games, I think would be a little complicated unless you could get it to track your feet, and then people are just going to injure themselves because they're going to try to do some sort of stupid jump kick, and they're going to like break stuff and themselves, and
it's the Sega Activator all over again. Actually, Kinect had a couple of games like that that were actually funny, but you know.
Yeah. Now, see, the VR, there's a lot of cool stuff that people do for streaming in VR. A buddy of mine does this on a regular basis over on Twitch. And he'll do, there's a program called Live. And what Live does is Live will kind of, you set up green screen around you to kind of transpose the game onto you. And then you frame out the rest of it. So it looks like if you're sitting there playing Beat Saber, you can angle it to where it looks like you're standing there with the blocks coming at you as you're playing Beat Saber. You're literally inside the game, and it looks super cool. It's probably like one of the coolest looking VR experiences I've seen out of streaming. And a bunch of people do it on YouTube too.
Yeah. It's too bad Res Infinite didn't take off, because Res in VR is awesome. I haven't
played Res.
That's a good VR game. Iron Man is a good VR game.
That one only hit up on the PlayStation. I didn't want to buy a PSVR headset. I really wanted that to go multi-platform at some point, and never did.
It was good. It is good. I got to get back to playing it.
If they bring out a headset for the PS5, I might pick it up and then get into it. But I didn't get into it on the PS4 because you really needed the PS4 Pro. Make it work cleanly?
Not really. Not really. It works fine on my base PS4. It really does. What I don't have, because I have the first generation headset, and that's the other reason that I don't have it hooked up to the PS5. Actually, the main reason is because this headset does not pass HDR through, and I run HDR in both my Xbox Series X and my PS5. So I have to have HDR. So in order to do that, I have to have. So I keep the headset on my base PS4 for that reason.
I can see that. And Waze makes another good point. There's a bunch of like climbing sims and stuff like that, walking simulators, things like that in VR that are probably, I've not tried them, but I've heard they're good experiences. So I know we're kind of boring Rob with this talk. What you got, man? Feel free to change topic anytime you want to.
Listen, the Xbox talk now. Jesus Christ. Actually, on that note, I have been actually looking more into the Xbox because you guys kind of got me a little interested in it. I just still can't find any games that I actually want to have for it, though.
So that's where Game Pass comes in, because there's such a breadth of games in there. It's, like 200 games to pick from of every genre that you could possibly want. So, I mean, if you're not into the traditional Xbox series, is Halo, Forza, Gears of War, Sea of Thieves, things like that. Game Pass gives you a ton of that stuff, plus the backward compatibility. So, the number of Xbox 360 and OG games that are playable on it, a lot of which with frame rate boosts, which are very, very nice.
I thought he wanted to dig into the original Xbox. Though.
I do.
Like, get an original Xbox.
Oh, okay. My fault. I'm sorry. Well, the good news is that is still extremely collectible for now. So getting an Xbox sets you back $40.
Yeah, I already have an Xbox and the one game. I was kind of looking to maybe expand that a little bit. A lot of the games that I have been seeking out for the GameCube and PS2 don't really seem to be on the Xbox, though. I still kind of like are there any I hate using this word, but are there any shmups on the Xbox?
On the OG?
I think it had some. I can't remember the name of them. I wasn't into shmups at the time, but I thought it had a decent list. It had almost 1,000 games, so there had to be some on there. I mean, I know as far as RPGs, I'd recommend KOTOR right off. If you're into kart racers, Cell Damage is a good one to pick up. There were
actually, Lightsaber Samurai. I've been watching a lot of his channel because he's very Xbox focused.
Crimson Skies is
writing down some of his.
Crimson Skies is not really a shmup, though.
It's not a shmup, but it's a very good game.
Oh, it's an awesome game. It's an awesome game. It's funny because to the OG.
Sorry, Zombie. I just didn't know how else to describe it.
Yeah. The Xbox One actually has more shmups that I remember than the OG.
Shoot them ups.
I mean,
the PS2 has a bunch of shooters. GameCube has a few, and I didn't see any when I was looking casually through the Xbox library.
Yeah, there really
I'm
are.
I'm fine with Bullet Hell too.
It wasn't really a Western genre, and since it was more of a Western console, it didn't really take off as well in the East, namely in Japan. They didn't do as many of them for that. The 360 was a little bit more well received, so I think it actually has more.
And they got a port of like Radiant Silvergun. Seriously, the Xbox.
I haven't heard Avidox. Hold on, let me look up Avidox.
The Xbox One
see if they ported it to the Xbox.
Yeah, I don't know that they did. Like the Xbox One had games like Project Root and Dogos, and there was a port of Ikaruga. There are definitely shmups there. I mean, your best bet for shmups is to probably stay with the PlayStation, GameCube, and then just dip back into the Sega CD, Sega Saturn.
Yeah, I mean that space got better once they had the Xbox Live Arcade for a while, which I don't think is still up anymore. But they had a lot more games like that. But that was more the 360 era.
Yeah,
and Sega says Avidox, and I see that game, but it's more for
he's being an ass. It's one of my favorite NES games.
Oh, okay. I was like, I saw that for NES, and it was on like Atari, but I didn't see anything on Xbox.
Yeah. All right. So here's a good question: would you guys consider Panzer Dragoon a shmup?
The rail shooter.
Most shmups.
Well, I mean, by the definition of obviously any shooter is a rail shooter, but
with the exception
like
of Thunder Force 2.
Definition of rail shooter.
And Death Smiles is amazing. You can actually get that on Steam as well. I actually have that on my Steam account. That's a really fun game. Yeah, so I guess we're kind of splitting hairs here, but yeah, I mean technically it is a rail shooter.
It is the internet, so that's kind of what we do here.
But a rail shooter and a shmup to me, while you don't necessarily have as many targets, it's not like a. And here you get into the idiosyncrasies of shoot 'em ups and bullet hells, right? Because they're kind of subgenres into the same genre. Shoot 'em up could basically have about as many targets as you'd have in an on the rail shooter, and just be more tactical based on where you need to be. And then you've got your bullet hell shooters where you're just frantically trying to survive, which are fun. Don't get me wrong. Death Smiles is basically, it really is bullet hell. It's not a really bad bullet hell, but it's bullet hell. So, I mean, I see where you guys are going with it, but
because I mean, if I'm calling Panzer Dragoon that and not a rail shooter, I mean, it's a rail shooter in the same way. Honestly, follow my logic on this. A game like Virtual Cop is, because it's every enemy is placed in the same spot every time. There's no like the pattern. Once you know the pattern,
I think I think the idea of a rail shooter kind of comes from the idea that it's basically like a ride on rails. Like you're going through a theme park ride at Disneyland, theoretically. And so it's kind of set up like that a little bit. Obviously, with a lot of these games, you can kind of drift off this rail, but it's not like a.
I love that comment
so much. Very nice.
So I see that. When someone says rail shooter, I know exactly what they mean. It still kind of plays the same as a top or top down.
They play a lot like shmups. I mean, if you really want a lot of shmups, Doug's Gaming's right. You want like PC Engine TurboGrafx. They had
I know it's a little cheap
there.
So.
Genesis is really good too.
Yep, Sega CD was excellent.
But TurboGrafx had way more than I think probably almost any other console. It's just a matter of getting your hands on one, getting your hands on the games. That's the problem.
I'd put the Genesis and Sega CD up against TurboGrafx and in the amount of shmups. Don't forget that the Genesis. We may have
to do some homework on that one because
don't forget the Genesis had the Thunder Force series.
Yeah.
Sega CD had Lords of Thunder, even though it was a slightly different version of the TurboGrafx, but. The Sega CD had
Punisher NES. I never got into that one. Doing anything where you've got to move a cursor like that always didn't feel right to me for some reason on the NES.
Trying to think what that I never had an NES until I emulated it, so I don't have a frame of reference for that one.
I'm not splitting one of my hairs. Thunder Force 4, Lightning Force.
Don't you mean Lightning Force?
Musha is also another really good one that's on the Genesis.
Musha and the sequel to that, Robolest.
I don't remember Robolest. But then I'm just now starting to learn more about shoot 'em ups. It wasn't a genre I leaned to when I was younger. I didn't start getting into them until like later.
Did you ever see my shmup video?
Yes, I did. I don't remember that one from on there. I remember a lot of them from on there, but I think I have to go watch that video again. Okay. I remember a bunch of them, but
Truxton was good.
Thexter,
an old PC, old PC. Like I had that on my Tandy. Thexter was a good one.
I had that on the Famicom. I think you were actually even kind of schooling me on what Thexter evolved into. What did it turn into? There was actually it changed into a more well-known series.
I don't know, Mike. That would be a you thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what I said that was. Did that become Sylpheed?
That
would be up to you to tell us.
You're actually talking
I have no idea.
I mean, it was made by Game Arts. It was made by the same company that did Sylpheed.
I swear I was talking. It was on our last official shoot 'em up podcast, and you were like, you had like this whole elaborate history, and I was like riveted. Obviously, I didn't.
I don't think it was Dexter.
My memory is crappy on these things. After I watch them after a while, I have to go back and rewatch them.
Yeah, I have to too, because I don't know that I said it was Fexter.
Well, I remember the Fexter stuck out to me because I know that game, and it's a odd game to know of for me. So I don't know if that was Sylphied specifically that you were saying it, but you had more of a history of what happened with that series. I don't want to look it up because too many windows open.
But yeah, the OG Xbox was not the one that I think I would go to for shoot 'em ups. The 360 was better, but the Xbox as a console line has never had the largest lineup of those. It's just not a genre it's really dove a lot into.
PlayStation was where it was at for shmups.
Yeah, you want platformer adventures, and especially in a 3D space, you want Western style RPGs like Mass Effect and KOTOR. The Xbox was a great console to go to. Yeah. Your first person shooters, obviously, those were always on there and they always worked great. They had a lot of genres that they were really good at and a lot of things that they brought out on it, but shmups was just not. It was, I guess, for a lack of better way to put it, it was too Japanese for the console. If that makes any sense at all.
No, you had me with it was a Western console, so that made sense to me. I would agree with that logic as to why it wouldn't have any, or at least many shooters at all. So
yeah, I mean, if they had hooked up with Nintendo like they originally wanted to, or managed to buy out Nintendo, which was never going to happen, it might have had a different story in that arena. Even Nintendo, I think, has never really been big past the NES in the shoot 'em up genre that I recall. I don't remember a ton of them on the SNES, and it seems like they got fewer and fewer as time went on.
I'm researching this real quick. See,
what is Dexter's Quest? What is that? I don't know that one.
Just assume that anything Stampede says
is he trolling? Is that what that is again?
He's
okay,
trolling.
That's fine. That's fine.
Quest. He's trolling Fester's Quest.
That's fine.
I got it.
Sampede's like, I can't believe you fell for that. That's fair. Dude, you guys, I every now and then I'll find you guys will mention the game. I'm like, what the heck is this game? It's like, oh yeah, no, this hit and this, and this, and I'm like, all right. I had no idea. It looks fun.
Yeah, I guess maybe if it evolved into anything, it would have been like a spiritual sequel, I guess. So, oh well. Infallible bastion of information, Wikipedia says it pretty much ends at Fexter Neo.
Neo, yeah.
Trolling.
I love you anyway, Stampede.
Trolling.
Uh-oh. Somebody's about to go down on go down. It's about to go down between him and Stampede by Fester's Quest. That game just looked like the better the weapon you got, the harder it was to use because it didn't work in half the spaces they gave you. I don't know. What I remember Fester's Quest was from AVGN.
I actually watched TMR play Fester's Quest last night. I dug out some old stream that he did. I think it was like 5 years old when he was going through all the NES games.
Yeah.
And I sat through his Fester's Quest playthrough. And I think once you actually level up the gun, it actually becomes you be able to use in those narrow passages. But Zombie knows. I think but Zombie will tell us. But it's Sunsoft, so you know it's not going to be too terrible. Hey, thanks for stopping
by. Good night, Waves. Thanks for hanging out, man. I thought you left like 10 minutes ago. You said you were going to do some stuff with your kids. I didn't go to bed. I thought you were already gone.
No. That was.
I did.
No.
Oh, no, that was Heavy Waves.
That was Heavy Waves.
God. So many
there
waves.
Were two people in the chat with waves in their name. That's impressive.
Yeah, this is there's no worse time to bring it up than right now. Although it was a better time, I should have mentioned it when Heavy Waves was actually in here. But Omega Ace and I went to not together. We did meet up at the Sacramento Gaming Expo, and we met Heavy Waves there. And
nice.
I really wish that we'd actually thought to take like a group photo together. Because Easy from Big Ford's Gaming BFG was there also. And yes, we both did pick up Fester's Quest on the NES.
Nice. I gotta make it to one of those cons that you guys are at one year, because I do want to meet up with some of you guys at some point. I just haven't been doing any conventions anywhere. Like, I haven't been going to Comic-Con or any of those. I just haven't even bothered.
There you go. Yeah.
I feel like I should, because it'd be a good way to meet up with you guys. I talk to you guys online all the time, so I feel like I should actually just like meet you guys at some point and hang out. It would be fun. I have. Met, yeah. And Chuck and everybody else like that, but there's so many other people on here. I'm in Colorado, Omega, so I'm not that far from California. I mean, it would be a couple-hour flight to get out there.
That'd be cool if you did. We don't really get to a whole lot of action here, unfortunately, in California, unless we're in San Diego. As far as like I've been to a couple Comic Cons here, and this is the first gaming expo that I've been aware of. Although I guess they are somewhat annual. The Sacramento in particular just doesn't really get anything cool.
I don't know if I could say I have a chill attitude.
Yeah, you've been okay. His streams though, right?
He's never seen you stream.
He has not. Yeah, I do want to get out there to meet you guys. I just got to find the right time to do it and hang out. Superhero names, real names. You can go by my real name, because my real name is a superhero name. Yeah, just
you
call
do
me
bring
Nick,
the Fury on your streams.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. That's right. I will go by Nick Fury from now on.
Well, or Nick wants to rage quit.
Well, you guys keep having me stream things. Like, I'm about to finish. I hope I'm going to finish
Wait a minute.
Keep
tomorrow. Having you.
Yeah.
There's that.
Oh, yeah, no. Well, people keep requesting Mega Man now. Like, I did X1, and then everybody's like, so you're going to do X2, right? I'm like, okay, I guess I'm doing X2. And now I've got requests going, so you're going to do X3, right? I'm like,
It's just Jim. Jim is recommending, you should play X3 now. It's my favorite one. And the rest of us like, hey, you should you just go ahead and just skip over X3. Yeah, just skip over to a different game.
Yeah, they actually submitted me to a forum for the perfectly timed F-bomb.
Actually, I like it better with the F-bomb intact.
Extreme Fury. Even when he was raging, no consoles were harmed, so chill.
You need to have that as your disclaimer now. No consoles were harmed in the filming of this
stream. Right. I need to make like an outro when I do, just like no consoles were harmed in the filming of the stream.
All right, so Zombie, I know you love Duff McWhalen, but how do you actually feel about the rest of X5? I gotta know.
Duck Mc what?
Yeah.
I think we showed this picture last time, but I will find it. Hold on.
Duff McWhalen. He's one of the bosses from Mega Man X5.
Gotcha.
It's a play on a band member from Guns N' Roses, or not sure what the actual dude's name was.
Hold on, I'll bring it up on screen here.
He's a whale.
This guy. He's a whale.
A robot whale.
This is Duff McWhalen.
Duff. Duff. D-U-F-F.
Yep.
Sorry, for some reason I kept hearing it as Duck McWhalen. I'm like,
Duff.
All right, is this a Disney game I haven't heard of yet?
No, this is Mega Man X5. So that's a Mega Man game.
I think I like the final Sigma fight in that game also. If that's the one where he's in like
the rest of X5
giant Terminator version of himself.
Yeah, I have heard nothing but good things about 4. I've not heard much good about 3, except for what Jim has told me.
You know,
Everybody else has
X3
said
is
3 is
fine.
not good.
The thing is about X2 and X3 in particular is that they're basically like Control C, Control
Scott.
V.
Good to see you, man.
Of
Hey,
X1.
Scott.
Just a lot got lost in the cutting and pasting.
Grave Digger through 6.
Whereas they actually started mixing it up a bit more after that. For the better or for the worse.
Yeah, I think you said you didn't like 7 very much either. 6 you were kind of on the fence about.
7. Nobody likes 7. 7 is an awful game.
And then people tell me that 8 is pretty amazing.
That'll be my next video, is a review of Mega Man X8.
Which one do I have that's the anniversary? Hang on.
I don't know. I thought about just going through the whole series at some point on the channel, just to go through the whole series. And honestly, part of the reason I get so upset about these is because half the time when you guys see me play these, most of the stuff I'm playing on stream, and you guys probably realize it, at least you do shortly in, is they're all blind playthroughs. So X2, I had never even looked at until we started playing it on stream. So it took me a while. Yeah. Okay. I think that was also PlayStation 2 as well, wasn't it?
It was PlayStation 1.
PlayStation 1. Okay.
I have it on
this
the
is
PlayStation
Saturn.
1.
I don't know what the PlayStation version is worth, but I know this is a pretty penny.
I'm sure that the Saturn version is worth more. Yeah, did I hook you, Mega?
Don't do it. That's
the
how
Saturn
I started
version.
streaming.
I'm sure is
X6
worth
broke
a lot
me.
more than the PlayStation version.
Actually, I'm gonna look this up real quick.
I think even sealed, the PlayStation 1 is not valued anywhere close to the Saturn version.
Probably because it's not as rare.
Probably not.
Yeah, at one point I'm going to start going through the actual main Mega Man series.
$625.
But
holy crap!
For the Saturn,
this is
really?
$625 right here.
Wow. Most of the Mega Man games usually tear me a new one.
It's a hell of a game.
Every single one of them.
I mean, it's hard as crap.
All the Mega Man games are hard.
Well,
dude.
I know.
The easiest one, honestly, that I think I played is probably X1. That's probably one of the easiest ones. And that wasn't exactly easy once you started getting towards like Sigma and all that. But it was far more approachable than most of the X-Men. Most of the Mega Man franchise that I've played. Now, I haven't played a lot of Battle Network. I haven't played a lot of the Zero series. There's all sorts of like spin-offs that were on handhelds and various different things that I've not played, that I can't speak directly to, but I've not heard anything that says Zero is easy, and Battle Network always looked a little funky.
I played the first Battle Network game, and it was fine. It was good enough that I was kind of like hooked all the way through it, but I had no desire to play any of the other games in the series.
Yeah, and then there was Star Force or something like that for a while.
Yeah,
too?
and
Was that part of Battle Network?
It totally lost the plot after that. I had no idea what they were going with all the Star Force ones, and there was they did the Pokemon route.
Smash Bros. Once. He is not easy to use in that game, by the way, for the record. He's not easy to use in Smash.
But Zombie's right. Mega Man 8 taught us how to say Dr. Wily.
Dr. Wily.
Slide, jump, slide.
Oh, God. Really? Are they pronouncing everything when they do it? Kind of like Street Fighter does?
No, it's this awful, miserable stage. Actually, there's two sequences where you're on a sled, and it's warning you in advance whether there's a jump coming up or whether you need to duck and slide.
Oh, okay.
Ducks.
And I haven't played Mega Man 6. I played 1, and I always struggled with 1. I don't think I ever beat it. I did beat 2, and then I think I dropped out of playing them for a long time. I want to say I played a little bit of 8, but I didn't get very far on the Wii, and then it was either 8 or 9. I might have dipped my toe in both of them, but I didn't get very far. Mega Man, the core franchise, I always found really challenging, particularly because like Mega Man X gives you a little bit of help where if you land on the side of something, you can slide for a little bit, so you can recover yourself and wall jump up. Mega Man doesn't ever give you that. Like, you can ground slide later on, but you don't really get that kind of same recovery mechanic. And the ones that I played at least really loved their spikes. Like, those instant death spikes were everywhere in Mega Man.
Mm-hmm.
Mega Man was not in the first MVC game in Japan. Interesting. I never played this Mega Man Soccer game. I heard about it. I never played it. But I wasn't huge into like sports games anyway, so I think I kind of avoided it just out of reflex.
I was always kind of curious to rent it because I, as a kid, even now, obviously, I loved everything Mega Man, and I remember seeing that in the store and going, oh, "Do I like Mega Man enough to rent a sports game?" I do not, but I wish I had it now, just for completion's sake.
Yeah, we kind of wrap up your Mega Man collection because you got almost all of them. Did you buy the collections on more recent consoles for some of them, or do you like own the individual ones as they came out on like the PlayStation and everything?
No, I have all of the individual games except for Mega Man 7 on the Super Nintendo. Basically, the really, really hard to find ones like Mega Man X3, Mega Man Soccer, Mega Man. And I try to actually have all the versions that I can get. But again, I'm really limited by the amount of money that I'm willing to spend
on it.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I suppose I probably could, if I convinced my wife that I really, really wanted it, she would probably allow me to drop a few $100s on a Mega Man game, but I don't want to do that. So unless I actually just luck into it, as I have for every other single game that I've had in my collection, I'm fine just not having it. Zombie, I would hope so.
I'll be honest, I really love the series, but I'm usually abysmal at playing any of them. Like, I've beaten X1, I've beaten Powered Up, I've beaten Maverick Hunters, beat that one multiple times, I've beaten 2, and I think that's pretty much the extent of the Mega Man games that I've actually managed to complete. Now, I've played a lot of them. I just usually can't beat them, is my big problem.
Now, when I was a kid, I had every single Mega Man Game Boy game, and I was so particular about my Game Boy games, and I kept them in the box with little plastic trays, everything just all minty. And then when I was in high school, I pawned them all for like $80, so I can go out with my stupid girlfriend, who I'm not even with anymore. But I mean, this was Mega Man 4, Mega Man 5, complete in box, in excellent condition. I've gotten all those back since, just in loose cartridge form, but just everyone has this story of horrible mistakes we've made selling games off, and that's mine, is getting rid of Mega Man 4 and Mega Man 5.
Those are the other ones I haven't messed with, is the Game Boy titles. I didn't even know they had that many of them.
Yeah, they're pretty good. They're considering that they're on the Game Boy, they're actually pretty good.
And there were a bunch of them on the computer too. Apparently, those were pretty abysmal, but they were there.
Yeah, we don't talk about those.
I don't know. Was there wasn't that one like between like SNES and PlayStation?
I think it was on the Saturn, because that's where the animated Maverick intros were from.
Okay.
And I think it was on the PC also. Again, Zombie. I'm going to go ahead and let you finalize that answer. And Mega Man on the Game Gear was, I want that game.
Why is Zombie dying on the inside? I think I missed something.
Because I sold Mega Man 4 and 5.
Oh.
In box.
Okay, yeah, that would hurt him. Yeah, I could see that. Was there a Mega Man on Game Gear?
It was awful.
I don't recall Mega Man on Game Gear. There was a long time where I would not touch the Mega Man series because I just couldn't get anywhere with them. So I didn't really want to play them because I could never get good enough at them to do anything with them. So it was just not a game that as much as I loved the Little Blue Bomber, that I could really do anything with. So I just stopped buying them because I knew they were just kind of out of my skill level. I've gotten a little bit better at it now, and I stress a little bit better. And the fact that I feel like I'm getting around to being able to actually complete some of them and get through some of those stages Gutsman stage still gives me PTSD. That first section on the jump platforms, I just cannot figure out. One of these days, I'm gonna have to learn it. I figured it out and powered up, but powered up just felt cleaner on it for some reason. Because when I would try to go back and do it on the OG Mega Man, it was just like, hey, look, and dead, and dead, and dead, and dead. 40 minutes later, still dead. Few controllers broken, still dead.
Yeah.
Just could not do it. See, and people keep mentioning Zero, but the only one of Zero that I played wasn't that the gameplay was hard, it's that I could not figure out, even with the map, where in the hell you go. Like, I could not figure it out. Like, I was so lost in that game. I think I spent like 3 hours trying to figure out where to go. Couldn't figure it out, and I'm just like, you know what? I can't even get to the first boss in this game. I can't navigate my way through this game. I'm just done. Like, this just doesn't make any sense. So I just put it down and never picked it up again.
Yeah.
Yeah, on Captain N, they did butcher a lot of those characters. I think Mega Man's thing was that everything was Mega High. And then
Mega
Man
on Captain N was not the best character, but neither was Simon.
I love that show though. I thought Simon was.
I thought it was a great. I loved it as a kid. I don't know if I could go back and watch it.
I would love to go back and watch it.
I would actually buy physical or digital copies of it if I could find it. I'd like to own digital copies of it.
Yeah, they butchered the characters. Obviously, they had no idea of. Of course, the characters didn't really exist at that time. There was just like a couple games. No one actually knew what Simon Belmont's character was.
Yeah.
So close to becoming Simon pompous. Yeah, he was a dandy.
Yeah, Simon, like Simon from Captain N, man. You'll get what we're talking about. He was gay. There's no other way of putting it. He had to be gay. It kind of did, but I still really enjoyed the series for some reason. I think it was because it was Nintendo and it was cartoon and it was all about Nintendo and it was all about cartoons. So I just liked it. You know, yeah. I don't know. I think that's really what it boiled down to.
And
because
Mother Brain was a good bad guy, but I would love to watch the cartoon again. Well, I'll leave it at that.
I would actually like to find most of those cartoons. Like, I never saw the Super Mario Brothers cartoon.
You never saw the Mario cartoon?
I never saw the Mario cartoon. I never got it. I think it was on cable, and I never had cable growing up, so I never caught a lot of these shows. Right? It had to be like Saturday morning type stuff for me to catch it, or on like one of the UHF channels that I could manage to catch.
Well, see, at least in California, we watched it on, I guess, Fox, our channel 2, whatever that was. And I caught it every day. The only days I didn't watch the Super Mario Brothers Super Show because I didn't care for the Zelda cartoon, so I would skip every Friday or every other Friday.
The Zelda cartoon was decent.
The only thing I know about the Zelda cartoon is the meme of, well, excuse me, princess. That's the only thing I know about the cartoon. That's it.
Did you guys
Everyone was really shitty in that cartoon. Like, Link was an asshole. The fairy was a little snatch. Sorry. She was not very nice. I think Zelda was...
Wait, are we doing a DVD marathon in Zombies Discord to watch all these? Is that what we're doing now?
Oh my god, dude.
Because this sounds awesome, by the way.
You guys were so close to watching water hit the camera. Holy crap, when you said that. Okay, sorry.
It's the end of the year. I gotta let some of this stuff loose.
No, it's okay. So then I won't bring up I won't bring up asking if you guys saw the Dragon's Lair cartoon. Anyway.
I love the Dragon's Lair cartoon. You're talking about the original one where the little kid was the barbarian and all that stuff?
I don't know if the little kid was
I think they were all kids, and there was like a
I'm thinking Dungeons and Dragons, not Dragon's Lair.
No, Dragon's Lair was a...
I was thinking Dungeons and Dragons too, sorry.
No. There was a cartoon adaptation of... There's a TV series in the 80s based on the
Dragon's
game.
Lair?
Yep.
No, I never saw that. That
Yeah.
sounds fantastic.
It was one of the Saturday morning cartoons.
Because Derek Daring is like the saddest hero ever.
Yep.
Like he was truly terrible. He got through everything by mostly closing his eyes and swinging randomly.
No, it was it was a great it was a great little series. It ran a couple of years.
And Carla snuck in here too, and I totally missed her. I'm sorry, Carla.
I said hi
I'm
to
a terrible
Carla
person.
way early.
I'm a terrible person.
I don't think she heard me.
Tiger handheld VR. Well, you laugh, man, but they actually do have some VR setups where you can play like retro games, and you'll actually plug it into the console, and it'll boot it up on a small screen in front of you, and then you play it that way. I think it actually can't remember if. No, I think you can just play it with the VR controllers, or you put those down and you pick up a regular controller at that point, and you play it that way. I need to buy one of those and check it out. But I've seen a couple of those, actually. 13-episode run of Dragon Quest, a.k.a. Dragon Warrior.
I don't remember that.
Doug says he remembers Dragon Lair was usually
Paired with the
Pac-Man cartoon.
Yep.
Which I never watched much of the Pac-Man cartoon either.
Dude, the Pac-Man one was, I'll tell you what, the Pac-Man one was savage. Like when the ghost caught, like the ghost would catch him once in a while and they would bite him and he would like wither down until he found until somebody gave a power pellet. Dude, I had nightmares watching the
brutal.
Oh my God, yes. Oh,
so I remember I watched the Pac-Man cartoon.
Oh, okay, he's got a whole screen share marathon of. It was called Super Mario Bros. Super Show, Captain N, Super Mario Bros. 3, Mega Man. That sounds amazing. I'm gonna have to make like all the popcorn. That sounds amazing.
But I remember in the Pac-Man cartoon there was a the ghosts were just like basically henchmen of some other bigger Skeletor type bad guy. That's more like Dr. Claw, I think. And he was always yelling at them for not doing the job right.
Yeah, I think his name was like Mesmeron or something like that.
And then they had to get new ghost costumes out of the closet whenever they got eaten. I vaguely remember this. I mean, I would have been like maybe 3 or 4 when this was out.
I would have been close to 5 because I was born in 77. I think that cartoon was like 81 or 82.
I'm looking up.
Pac-Man was 82 to 83.
Okay. I would have been 5.
Yeah, I would have 4 or 5.
Yeah. Actually, I just looked it up. Dragon's Lair was 84 to 85. So Dragon's Lair came after Pac-Man. According to what I'm reading here, Pac-Man was paired up with the Little Rascals and Richie Rich. I remember the Richie Rich show.
Now, Richie Rich, I remember. Little Rascals, I vaguely remember, but I don't remember watching a lot of it. I did watch Richie Rich, though.
Is this for real, Omega?
And Born, we're always up for more Sonic CD chat. However, we usually need John in here to bash on Mike as he's talking about it. Yeah. I haven't seen John tonight.
That's because John done one out of this.
I think John's been falling asleep after he comes home from work most of the time. Yeah. He likes his new job, but it's kind of kicking his butt right now. Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr. I
remember Donkey Kong. Those. Nick, I just sent you a picture.
I saw.
Was there a Donkey Kong?
What is this
cartoon?
Hold on. Hang on. We're going back to.
This doesn't look very Castlevania to me.
It looks crazy. I'm not sure what I'm looking at here. I got too many windows open right now. Back to our main window. Oh, wait. I know what happened. StreamYard got pulled over with it. That's what happened. Okay. What is this craziness? This does not look very... It but does and doesn't because it's got all the classic characters, but those are all also classic monster characters. I mean, they're just like Hammer monster characters, like classic old school monster characters. So I mean, they could fit anywhere.
Huh. Here we go.
About this one.
All right, I think I found what.
Stumbled upon it when it went down the Castlevania rabbit hole one day. That is a deep rabbit hole, sir.
Yeah, it is.
It really is.
Good night, RetroRoots. He said he was going to hit sack.
RetroRoots.
Okay. Good night.
And hello, Carla. Again.
Yeah, Carla.
So Zombie is right. There was a show from 1983 to 1984 called Saturday Supercade that had short segments. Frogger.
Is that serious? Casper was Richie Rich before he died? Is that legit?
What?
Is that legit? I mean, the two characters have probably the same voice actor, so I would totally buy that.
I remember the Donkey Kong part of that show.
Yeah, there was Pitfall. There was all kinds of stuff. That's really cool.
Grab this link.
Well, Casper's been on since the 50s, so I mean, it depends on.
Usually. Freaking YouTube shortened the link is what it did.
Well, Richie Rich had. Let's see who played Richie Rich in the cartoon in the 80s. Sparky Marcus was Richie Rich.
And it's not letting me highlight here. Dadgummit.
So he was Nick Burns, the company's computer guy, and Challenge of the GoBots. Richie Rich. He was Dexter from the Space Ace. Richie Rich, Scooby-Doo. Bad News Bears. I don't see him as.
Okay, Nick.
Yeah, I had to sneeze.
Yeah,
I didn't want to sneeze really loud. And
I thought you saw Zombie's comment. It was like, oh
no, no. I had to sneeze, and then I thought I was going to have a second sneeze, so I stayed muted. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to have the second sneeze. I can unmute now because I didn't want to sneeze directly into the microphone.
All right, I don't see him as
I got it, Omega. I also got it up here. Hang on, let me put it on. Let me put it on the stream.
Yeah, I don't see him as Casper.
Metroid and Castlevania cartoons, but see, here's the weird thing I don't understand about this picture. The Metroid that looks like a guy.
Well, because they didn't know back then.
They had to. People were able to beat the game.
No, I'm just.
Yeah, because I think I don't know when this came out, but I swear Samus was actually on Captain N at one point, and it was.
Yeah, there's the. Well, yeah, it should have been. I mean, this picture's. I mean, this isn't super bad for like one of the space pirates or whatnot. I mean, I could go with that. It's not quite accurate, but it's close enough. The slime doesn't make a lot of sense, but whatever, I'll go with that too. But the suit's fine. It's the dude inside that doesn't make any sense. Well, yeah. And that's because they were trying to hide the surprise ending on it. But I mean, all you had to do was basically just talk to anybody at Nintendo, and they could have told you, or talk to anybody that played the game. Because after a little while, it was pretty common knowledge. After about the first 2 or 3 people beat the game, that quickly became common knowledge. I mean, that's awesome they tried to do it. Okay, now I need a dice that says yeet. That's funny. Oh, God.
All right, maybe Samus was not on Captain N, but
I was surprised for a long time. It was a little known fact. Most people didn't buy the game. Most people didn't have internet to communicate. Yeah, I understand that, but I mean, I'm assuming their gender. Wow. Maybe I am. Samus was intended to be in the Captain N cartoon, but due to copyright, she was only allowed to be in the comics.
Yeah, those are the pictures I pulled up when I was looking for Captain N.
Yeah. I also said no one knew Samus's true identity in the manual too. Yeah, everyone pretty much assumed that Samus was a guy until you got to the end of the game, and that's what made that kind of such a big shocking reveal to everybody is when you actually beat the game. I do kind of have a monthly laugh. I'm not gonna lie. Not near as come as small as games of Metroid could have repeated rarely by people. See, I only beat Metroid with the Justin Bailey code. I couldn't beat it any other way, and I gave you a lot of the power ups, including like the high jump, and I think it was actually a little. It let you jump a little bit higher because she wasn't in the suit. So when you put that code in, she was kind of in the zero suit with a bunch of the power ups. So it effectively removed a lot of the farming into the game because I could get to Mother Brain and beat Mother Brain, but I could never actually climb up the hallway at the end. I kept dying there, so I never got to see the ending until I did that code. So I got really close and then couldn't quite finish it without that code. I need to go back and do that one day because I still don't think to this day, and I need to finally finish Zero. Zero has so much other stuff shooting you in that same zone with that same boss that it's a nightmare.
Yeah, I didn't beat the original Metroid until I was close to 30, I think.
Yeah, and me and my brother beat Simon's Quest, so we did beat Castlevania 2. But Castlevania 2 was kind of its own game. Like, we couldn't beat the first one. I didn't beat the first one until I really started focusing on retro games on my channel. You guys actually saw me beat that one for the very first time, even though I've been trying to beat that game forever. Same way with Revenge of Shinobi.
I beat it when I got the Castlevania Anniversary Collection last year.
Born, what boss is it? Is it the
boss?
Parasite Queen boss? That was a hard one. That was one that I struggled with.
Which one is that? Is that
the Parasite Queen one where you actually had to go back to the fire world, and it was on the cooling system?
Oh, that one. Yeah, that one. I had to look something up on that one to figure out what I was doing wrong because I could get through all the phases, but I wasn't doing any real damage. So I had to look up what I was missing on the mechanics. I had to do that one or two times because it was not like dodging the attacks wasn't a big deal, but figuring out what I had to do in certain spots to actually do damage was kind of confusing.
In the last boss, actually, also gave me. I think I worked on that for a couple nights.
That boss took me a couple hours. I think to finally beat.
A lot of very fast attacks to learn.
And at Advantage or Metroid, it was my second NES I ever got. I rented Castlevania 2 during the summer. Yeah. I think the first game I ever asked for was Metroid. And the weirdest experience I ever had with Metroid, the original Metroid as a kid, is I went over to a buddy's house who had it. And he had a black and white television. And I'm like, how? Like, I get that you have picture, but how? He goes, what do you mean? I go, all these hallways are color-coded, man. I'm like, that's how you tell where you are. He's like, really? I go, yeah.
That's
I'm like,
funny.
are you just counting hallways? Is that how you're doing this?
That's funny.
I was just shocked that he was able to get anywhere in the game because it was black and white. But then I've seen so many other crazier things. I saw a guy on was it Twitter the other day that he was paraplegic, could only use his head, and managed to beat the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. I'm talking about the one where you got to go through the dam and defuse the bombs with his chin. I'm like,
people are crazy.
You're amazing.
What they adapt to.
You're absolutely amazing.
I think didn't I link you to that dude? I mean, that was, or I think I tweeted. I think I shared that tweet.
You might have shared that because I saw that and I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!"
I was so
outstanding.
Impressed.
I couldn't believe it.
I was so impressed.
There's a speedrunner that he still has some kind of use in one of his hands, but I think he has muscular dystrophy, and it's basically just a claw of one of his hands, but he could still speed run games. He I think had the world record, I believe, for Transformers Devastation. So I mean, he could still manipulate a controller that is literally built for two hands and speed run it well enough to actually like be better than almost everyone else in the world. So it's amazing what people will adapt to.
Yeah,
even with what
absolutely.
we call,
and I don't know if that's Sean or not, Celestial. All I know is like I was just amazed because that's a game that I would struggle to get anywhere on today, and he's just managing to do it without any use of his hands whatsoever. So, I mean, I think the person who put it up said, "Okay, so what's your?" It's like I don't have an excuse anymore. What's yours? And I'm like, I guess I don't have one other than I suck. My excuse is I'm terrible. I don't know, man. Like, I literally did not get a good look at the controller because he kind of had a mic like right here, and the controller is just pressed up like right here, right? So most of the time that he's actually trying to control the character, he's not really talking to his audience because he's got to control the game, right? And so I have no idea how he did it. I don't know how the controls laid out. It looked like a standard, like PlayStation style controller that he was using, but how he had it mapped or way he had it laid out, or if he just had things mapped to the analog stick for certain things, like up and down did certain attacks and left and right helped you move. I have no idea. Because if you mapped the right analog stick to where left and right moved you back and forth on most 2D games, and up and down were like A and B, you might could make it work. Not on every game, but you could make it work on a lot of games.
Guys, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy was on Twitch, so it's probably Sean. You're probably right, Celestial.
It could be.
And he does deathless runs as well. The dude's amazing. Like, it's absolutely amazing watching him play. Nick has the snacks while on stream record. Yeah, dude, I have no idea how he does it either. Like, I legit have no idea. I mean, I'm super impressed that he can pull it off, and I would love to see how the controller's laid out and get an explanation on how it works. Because I've got to imagine they modified a controller somehow, right? So that he can hit everything he needs to hit. I mean, that's what I would do if my kid was into that. I would talk to somebody about the problem and have him build something for it. So he could play. If that's what he wanted, let's do it, right? But I have no idea. It looked like a regular controller to me, and I don't know how they did that.
Yeah. But it's impressive nonetheless.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, but if I had a kid that had special needs like that and he wanted to play video games, I mean, even if it cost a couple $100s, I'd be like, fine, let's get you a controller. We'll make it happen. I mean, it might be the only thing you get that Christmas, but we'll make it happen. At Christmas or birthday or whatever, it might be your only present, but we're going to make it work. But we've been going for close to 2 hours now. I don't know how tired you guys are, how many of you guys have work in the morning. I don't have work in the morning, so my time is not that constrained, but I want to be conscious of your guys' time.
Yeah, I'm working all week. So,
well, if you guys would like to call it, we can go ahead and do the wrap up. Yeah, people are crazy, dude. People can do insane things now. It's amazing.
Yep.
Only in spirit.
Yeah, Big Family Guy's working right now. Modify controller for the disabled. Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen a couple of those, but this guy would need one. I've seen some for people that they almost look like they have like T places where you'd have like records so they can move them. But that's for people whose hands don't work great, but their arms still work. This guy would seem to be a complete paraplegic, so he would need something far more specific.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm all for making things accessible for people. If you can find a way to make it work and they can still enjoy things, then it's great. They may not be this guy, Adam, but I mean, you know, that's you know, let it go. While eating a plated chicken, shirt optional. No, you two guys may have absolutely won the internet tonight. Attire optional. No. taught your blind roommate how to play Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh. Okay. Yeah, I could see that working,
Wow.
man. That makes
That's
total
impressive.
sense. So long as you can set up a system that they can learn, yeah, that makes total sense. Did you have to like dimple each one of the card? I would imagine you'd have to manually dimple the cards, right? Because they don't have anything like that on them, as far as I know, unless they've changed them radically. Panda agreed. I was like, well, guess I'm staying here forever then. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. Mike, what you got going this week? Are you guys doing another
Yeah, we're gonna do
NLG
one
this
last.
week?
Yep, we're gonna do one last show of the year. It's gonna be our kind of end of the year wrap up, not like a game of the year kind of thing, just a wrap up of all the great stuff that's going on in 2021. I know a lot of people. It's kind of funny. A lot of people have kind of poo-pooed on 2021 as a horrible year and things like that. But from the gaming standpoint, a lot of good things came out this year. A lot of great a lot of great experiences, next generation of consoles, getting to meet friends, navigating video gaming in a pandemic. Actually, we did a lot better this year than a lot of people think. So we're going to talk about that, kind of wrap up the year. And
there's still good games coming out too. Like the Gunk just came out, which I haven't played yet.
I haven't either.
That came out like after all the Game Awards and everything, like right before Christmas.
Yep. And right now I'm consumed with Halo Infinite, so that'll be the next game on the list after I get that beat.
Yeah.
So
I kind of want to start the Gunk, but there's a lot of other things I'm trying to do too, so I've kind of been holding off.
Right. Well, and then we got to get to February, because then, Horizon Forbidden West comes out, and that's going to suck up all of my time. And
I still got to give Horizon Zero Dawn another try. I bought it on PC to get another go, but me and my buddy were really struggling to make the combat work in that game for some of the larger critters, particularly in some of the corrupted zones, because it would respawn if you went too far away from the zone, and it was too easy to get overwhelmed inside the zone. So it might have been that we needed to
Could be.
But you can't overpower it, because your weapons don't really level, and you don't necessarily upgrade like your staff and things like that. You just get more specialized equipment. So I don't know. I'm kind of struggling with that one a little bit. And to me, the Switch OLED wasn't a thing for me, because I don't play my Switch in handheld mode. So for me, most of those upgrades, while they're great for people that play in handheld mode a lot, it wasn't a big necessity for me. And since it didn't have any hardware upgrades to make anything run smoother, I didn't see the need for it personally. That doesn't necessarily make it a bad product for those people that play in handheld mode. If you play in handheld mode a lot and you want the flexibility of connecting it to your TV, then that was pretty much the way to go at that point. If you only played it in handheld mode, you might have been better off with the light. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Yeah, I think everybody kind of wanted a Switch Pro, and that's why the Steam Deck initially sold as well as it did. And I think a lot of people are kind of like waffling a little bit on that decision now too, because everybody was caught up in the heat of the moment. Well, if you're not going to give me a Switch Pro, I'll just buy a Steam Deck. And I'm like, these aren't the same product. These aren't aiming for the same audience, but okay, whatever works. And I've still got mine pre-ordered, because I still think I'll get some use out of it. But I'm looking at it for more what it is, and I think what people want it to be. Then want a better screen. Yeah. Okay, so you play about 90% handheld. I would have thought that better screen would have been a big deal for you. But yeah. Rob, what do you got going on?
I have a end of the year wrap up video that I'm butting it up right now, and then I'll start working on my next few videos that I would like to actually get some out in the early part of 2022. The next one is actually that I'm actually working on right now is a review of Mega Man X8, which I do think is a really good game. So
I look forward to that one. I really, as much frustration as I've had, the X series has been a good amount of fun. Even X2, once I started getting more used to it, which took like over half the game, it started getting more fun. I still don't think the level design and the weapons are quite as tight as X1, but it's a better game than I thought it was when I initially started pounding my head against it.
See, the thing is, it's fine. That's how I would describe Mega Man X2. It's fine. It's a fine game. They basically just really just copied X1, and they just didn't copy over all the things that I liked about X1, like the music, or the boss design, or the stage design was okay. It just was everything was just a little bit worse than it was on the X1, in my opinion. A lot of people like, I think Eating Paste loves X2.
Yeah, I think that's one of his favorites.
It's such a close copy of X1. Obviously, it's still going to be a pretty good game, and to a lesser degree, so is X3. But I just think every single one was just a little bit worse than the game that came before it. Until you start getting to X5, X6, then it's a lot bit worse than the game that came before it.
Yeah, honestly, X1, I think what got me on that one is the level design was really nice. It was approachable but challenging. There weren't as many blind jumps. X2 had so many blind jumps that it kind of drove me crazy.
In that one X Hunter stage where you're literally dropping down the stairs right into some spikes.
Yeah.
So I mean,
so there's a lot of like leaps of faith in a game that I'm normally not a big fan of. Most of the weapons I don't think mechanically worked as well as they did in X1. X1, there were always uses outside of bosses for pretty much every weapon, and I didn't feel that was the case for X2. Like, you could use them for certain things and they were helpful, but their range and the way they fired and the way they felt didn't feel as good as the ones from X1. That was my big problem.
Yeah, we could easily get off in the weeds, but I would say that that kind of just felt true for the rest of the X series. Though there was a lot of weapons that were just fun, like the Storm Tornado, which is great to use in any other level.
And hugely useful on a lot of enemies.
Very useful. There in all the other X games, it didn't really seem like any of the weapons did that. You just kind of used these sub weapons for the boss that it was intended to defeat, or the secret that it was intended to uncover, and that was it. So X1 did a really good job. Like shotgun ice was a really good weapon to use. What else? The rolling cutter, whatever that weapon was called, was pretty useful.
That was one of the weaker weapons, but it was really good against Sigma. So and it had its uses. It would destroy a lot of things in its path. It just wasn't as flexible as some of the others.
The boomerang cutter is what I mean.
Oh, the boomerang cutter.
Grab items.
Yes. Yes.
And then even if the weapon itself wasn't useful, powered up it certainly was. Where you get the shield, or you get the invincibility with the Sting Chameleon, and they just kind of just let all that go. It stopped being very important.
Yeah, and see, part of the fun to me, Paste, is, and I like using the X-Buster too. It's one of my main go-to weapons, but I find it's nice when you have other uses for the sub-weapons. Because unlike the original Mega Man, where you would, like, the original Mega Man seemed to me like they were mostly designed for you to use the X-Buster 90% of the time, and then only use the sub-weapon against the bosses. The X series started out feeling like, okay, so you still do that, but they have a lot more uses. And that's what I love the most about X1.
X1 just encouraged you to use the weapons, not even just as a weapon, but in other ways that you wouldn't have.
Later, Omega. We're almost done anyway, man.
Yeah, sorry, Mike. We started talking about Mega Man.
We did.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I enjoy listening to you guys talk about Mega Man because it's a series that I don't have a lot of experience in outside of Mega Man 8. So hearing this and watching Nick, rage stream is a lot of fun, actually.
Speaking of that, though, and this is coming way late, but I think we were going to be doing our next homework assignment of playing
Other M.
I can
I
get
don't know if we
started
actually
on it.
need to officially announce it, but
yeah, and I need to either figure out, I don't know if I want to record that or not, because I'll have to find a converter because it's got composite out on my Wii, and I need to find a way to take that to
I could try
HDMI.
I could try to get some footage for us since I play it on a Wii, and I can
play it on the Wii U, I guess.
I'm going
to be playing it.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a the Elgato. I have an Elgato that is an older one that's got the component input. So
Well, I think you can get a component to HDMI converter. I think those exist.
Oh yeah.
I just haven't picked one up. But I could also play it on the Wii U, which does HDMI, so I could do that.
There you go. That's how I do my GameCube stuff.
The only problem with that is I got to figure out where to put the sensor bar. I guess I could just put it on my desk somewhere because it's still going to need the sensor bar for the Wiimote and all that stuff.
First person stuff.
For the few times you actually need to point it at the screen.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, they didn't do that except for like finishing blows and then the investigation stuff. Those are pretty much about the only times you really had to snap the controller there. I think you might have had to do it with rockets too. Seems like there were some rockets where you had to like point the controller at the screen and aim it to do that, but it wasn't a mainstay. From what I can remember,
to like give ourselves like a month to.
Yeah, I'm thinking like if we do that, we do like a game a month or something like that and try to work in it. That way, even if you don't finish it, you got plenty of time to play it here and there and get some good exposure to it. Like I've already beaten Other M once, but I do kind of want to go through the experience again. Right.
See, I haven't played it at all, and I've just been waiting for the this project would be a really good excuse to I wouldn't have.
So I'm the only one of us that's actually played and beaten that game. I'm the only one of the three of us that's actually played through and beat that game.
That's the only Metroid game that I haven't played,
and I haven't played it.
And yeah, Mike, this would be your
This will be your debut into the Metroid series, isn't it?
So this would be a really fun, I think, roundtable to see how you think of it, Nick, in like
in retrospect versus your guys' first time playing it. Yeah,
and me as a established Metroid fan, and then you, Mike, as
okay.
Now, Mike, if you like this one, at all, I recommend you playing like Super Metroid or some of the others. We'll come up with a list with some of the other ones that are actually more well-renowned. Other M is the black sheep of the Metroid.
So we've talked. Yeah, I know we've said that.
Now, I still think it's a solid game. I enjoyed it when I played it. There were parts that drove me insane. Some of them I even Googled to find a solution, and those were the investigation scenes, because I swear I clicked on like every pixel and could not find what they were looking at. And then I finally had to look it up and be like, I clicked on that 9 times, but here we go. And it would finally work. I don't think that frustration is going to change for me. Because there's some things I just was not seeing on the screen as to what the hell I was supposed to be doing. But I mean, anybody else that wants to go through this while we're doing this, that was kind of part of what we originally wanted to do with this, was have a game that we'd pick out. We'd run it for a while. Team Ninja developed it. And have everybody else kind of come along, and then everybody can kind of come back with their own impressions of it while we're discussing it as well. And we can kind of have a roundtable between us and everybody in the audience as to what they thought about it, having gone through this particular game. So Metroid Other M was the one that we picked. The very first one was Toe Jam and Earl, which we only did for like a week, and then I totally missed my homework assignment and had to go back and retroactively do it until they screwed that whole conversation up.
Actually, a few people, Sandwich played it too, when we were playing through Toe Jam and Earl, and right. I think I was the only one that actually liked the game.
Well, Mike loves that game. I mean, that's why
I know. But I mean,
it's one of Mike's favorite.
That were trying out the game for the first time, I think I was the only. I love that game now. And
I just found it too random, man. I don't do well with that many random elements in a game. I can't get it done unless it's just a random fluke.
I thought that for every frustrating random thing there was in that game, there was something else that was circumvented. So to me, it was.
I did not find that.
Kind of
balanced. But then I ran into multiple randomizers in multiple runs in a row. Like I would be opening up packages early on, and it would randomize everything, and then I'd run into another randomizer, and it would randomize everything. And at some point, I'm going.
Did you ever try the second game?
No. I've not tried. Was it Planet Funkatron?
Escape from Planet Funkatron.
Yeah, I haven't tried that one yet. I kind of stopped with that series for a while because the first one just, I kept running into the worst parts of the randomization on it, and just could not. I eventually got it done twice, once through save states and once just through sheer persistence. and got it done so I could do a legit review on it. But I mean, it's like maybe 1 out of every 45 tries I might beat that game, and it might take me several hours in a run. So only to have it fail at like level 20
That's the
after
other
I'm
thing,
having a great run.
It's not a short game, so even like
it's not.
a good smooth playthrough, you're still looking like a 2 or 3 hour runtime.
At least an hour and a half.
So if you die and you're only had like a couple pieces of that spaceship left, you've sunk in a lot of time at the end. Basically, have lost all that. So I can see that frustration.
Yeah. So it hit me the same way a lot of roguelikes hit me. They all just kind of leave a bad taste in my mouth. I don't like that genre. I've never liked that genre. Even Hades, which everybody keeps telling me is amazing, and it's the one that's going to make you love that genre.
Yeah,
I don't like.
I didn't like Hades.
I had the same problem. Like if I got the right layout, I could kind of get through it. I still couldn't beat the last boss. I've not been able to crack that one yet. But there are certain builds that you'll end up forced into in that game that will make even the third boss in that game a real struggle. Whereas I can overcome the other two pretty easily. The third one and the fourth one are like the big walls there. And the third one in particular, because you'll waste so many of your resources just trying to pound through that wall every time you play it, that it makes the fourth one that much harder because you don't have enough left in the tank to really deal with it anymore. And it just became just too annoying. And I put in, a lot of people beat it by putting in God mode, which isn't like a full-on invulnerability, but it makes it a lot easier. And that's how they managed to beat it. A lot of people I talked to, that's how they beat it. And I think that's when everybody started beating it and went from being like another roguelike game to being like this complete darling that won all these indie awards. And Potion saying I might like the second one, it's a side scroller. Yeah, and that's what I've been told too. It's a side scroller.
It's a side scroller. Yeah. And then the third game on the OG Xbox is a 3-dimensional version of the first game.
Yeah.
Which is really good.
And I want to play the last game that just came out. I almost bought it for the Switch. I just didn't really pull the trigger.
That's a good one. Back in the Groove. That's a good one.
I didn't even enjoy that one out.
It's a mixture of the 3 games together.
I don't know. Maybe I'll play through some more of the others. I don't really know for sure. I mean, the last one. I mean, the first one I beat it, so I mean, I can't say that it's like unconquerable or anything. I did manage to beat it. It's just the level of frustration involved with going through it kind of left an unpleasant taste in my mouth of knowing that 1 out of every 45 runs, after I invested a ton of time in it sometimes, is just going to bite me. And that was just pretty frustrating from a personal standpoint. I know a lot of people would love that, but that just was not to me.
I do get that.
So, and sometimes, and I even did that in my review, I'm like, sometimes you have to accept you're just not going to win. Like, it's just not in the cards. Like, you could play perfectly, and there's times where you're going to run into a bad run, and it's just not going to work. It just will not work. All right, it would be really interesting to see somebody NDR that. But anyway, we're going to call it a night. We've been at this for a long, long time. Everybody's fading out because we're just kind of meandering. Any more last thoughts before we call it a night?
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year. Thank you. You beat me to it, Mike.
Sorry.
I was like, I know exactly what to say. It's now.
Happy New Year's, everybody. We hope to see you guys in the new year. I think it's like it'll be the second week of the new year before we have another one of these, I think. So, anyway, happy gaming, guys. Have a great New Year's. Stay safe. See you next time.
Good night, everyone.
Gamers.